and welcome into the Section 109 podcast. Here from Studio Breezy, I am joined by some real characters here. Sir Mix-a-Lot is sleeping because he's already bored of us. Toby is hiding, I'm fairly certain, under the couch. Jim is over there texting as he doesn't want to be bothered.
Yeah.
Matthew has arrived and is not in a suit. It's pretty weird. And Bobble Juan is just hanging out right there. But boys, we are back to talk some vibes and to talk about some game reviews. Before we get started, please do the things to make all podcasters happy. Like, comment, subscribe. It would really, truly mean a lot, whatever platform you're on. If you want to watch us on YouTube or on Spotify, we are on video on those two platforms. Jim, I'll start with you. Vibe check. Before we get into the nuts and bolts of these games, how you feeling?
So pure vibes, I feel pretty good. Just pure vibes. The second half of Orlando and the second half of Crown Legacy were very nice to deal. Were very nice to watch.
Yes.
And so yeah, as long as I don't look at the things that I always look at, then yeah, vibe check is pretty positive. Yeah, pretty positive.
Matthew?
We are at 2.83 points per game pace, which is pretty good.
That's easily sustainable. I don't see.
Is that pretty good? That's not 3.
I'm told it's decent. It's 17 points out of 18 in the league.
That's fucking insane.
We've won 5 games.
It's actually undoable for in most leagues.
Correct. Shout out extra points.
we got the extra point against Atlanta on the road in the only game we haven't won yet. I like that. And I'll just note that our 5 wins in the league,
I know what you're about to say,
are more than half of the wins we got last year in the league.
True story.
It's a good start.
So, that's a great start.
Yep.
I asked for vibes, not facts.
Dude, the vibes are good.
Vibes are good.
The vibes are good, and none of this XG crap means anything because the most important thing that happens is vibes and the power of friendship. And that is overflowing right now. And if we want to talk about XG later, we can. But also,
not until we get to 10 games.
We should wait till 10 games. And then we can compare the models because that's even more fun.
Yeah, well, I have takes on this. I'll share my vibes. So Jim summed mine up pretty good. The second 4 of the last 6 halves we have played have been really good. The second half against Orlando, both halves against Carolina Core, and the second half against Crown Legacy. And before that, I think if you looked at those stats, which we're not going to talk about in depth, you would look at our stats and look at our performance and be like, boy, I don't love how this is going. The ball's going to start going in at some point for the opponent. Eldon's going to be Superman, but even Superman can only do so much. But then, so that's what I was worried about coming into that Orlando game. Then we had that second half where I was like, ooh, there's a little something there. That feels good. That was better. Showed we can stick and play. And obviously we know these teams will level up at some point. So you want to feel like we can hang. And then the Crown Legacy, the Carolina Core, game, which I can't wait to talk about because we went up and it was cool. First time in Carolina, first time at the Carolina Core game, rather. It was like the vibes in that game were really good. We came out with an excellent tactical plan. I know that the scoreline may flatter us a little bit in particular because of the red cards, but we drew that red card fair and square. We drew so many yellow cards by causing them trouble. We were danger adjacent and a bunch of times we didn't get shots out. The vibes were really good from that game. Then we came out in Crown Legacy. The first half was oh. And then the second half against Crown Legacy, they don't even get a shot on target. I don't think they had a shot at all in the second half.
I think they did, but not on target.
Maybe that's what it was. Not trying to. But my point being is the vibes 4 of the last 6 halves being actually really good is has changed my vibes a lot. And I'll be interested to talk about these games. Matthew, where do you want to start from this podcast? I know we have some mailbag, we have some women's stuff to talk about, and we have some men's games to talk about. Where do you want to start?
We are going to start at the beginning of the show doc, which you would know if it was in front of you.
Well, my show doc machine is showing me the camera view, so I have to make sure the camera doesn't turn off.
So we're going to take this. We're going to take,
which is why I threw to you so you could lead.
So I am not only going to share this for the benefit of the listeners and viewers. I'm going to share this for the benefit of you. We're going to
Thanks,
start
buddy.
with the Carolina Core game. Then we're going to talk about the Crown Legacy game. Then we're going to talk about some interesting breaking news on the men's side of things. Then we're going to talk about a broad overview of where the women's roster stands right now. We are planning on housekeeping. We are planning on doing an in-depth preview of the women's team and season that will likely take place during the week before the week of the first game.
The first game is the 23rd, right?
Yes, this will be the last podcast for a couple weeks or so.
I'm going to Italy to visit my in-laws.
Yeah, so that's
and then to Toronto for the Toronto game.
so we're gonna do that after. We'll have a better idea of where the roster is. The roster stands at 17 right now. It'll be a little bit higher.
So this will be a 30,000-foot view of the roster with just a little bit of welcomes and stuff, and then we'll get into in-depth stuff for that. We'll do a little bit more research and watch some highlights and stuff.
And then we're gonna do a mailbag, and there's some good questions in here. So yeah, let's get started. We'll start with Carolina Core. So to set the stage for the Carolina Core game, we had come off of we had come off of a week at the beginning of April where we played at Atlanta on a Sunday. We hosted the second round Open Cup game on a Wednesday, and then we were at home against Orlando on the following Saturday.
3 games in 6 days.
And we won the game against Orlando 2-0, scoring 2 goals fairly late in the game, back to back. A really, really nice second half. And
a very worrying first half followed by a very reassuring second half, to be clear.
And then we go through the guys get a full week of training, no midweek game. They go to Carolina Core. Core had just come off beating the crap out of somebody. I think New York.
NYCFC, they beat them 5-0.
And I think power rankings mean absolutely nothing except if we happen to be near the top,
buddy.
And so we were coming
power
off,
of vibes and friendship is what powers the power rankings.
So I think we were coming off like we were like number 2 and they were like number 5, something like that. It doesn't actually matter. But like Core, if you guys remember Carolina Core from last year, they were complete hot trash garbage water.
Isn't that just called Fago?
Or if you watch Ted Lasso, tea. And they were
says the guy who drinks tea.
Yeah, exactly. They were a real hot mess for a while there.
So I'm gonna tell Chris and Adam on you, you son of a bitch.
They were kind of trash, and then all of a sudden their results were still trash, but they started playing a little bit better. And then they started getting results, and then they went on this kind of insane run.
I think they had 7 straight games on the road,
Correct.
followed by 7 straight games at home or something like that.
It was something ridiculous.
And once they started their homestand, and they'd already started to play well, or when they started to play well during their homestand, rather, they just started winning, and they rattled off like 5 or 6 wins in a row.
It was pretty impressive, and like they also had to like settle into, with
this is last year.
It's an expansion team, never played before, so you had 25 whatever players. Brand new. So it took a long time for them to find the combinations that they liked. And spoiler alert, like they brought back a lot of that team.
21 players, I believe.
This year. But the starting lineup mostly has not changed that much from the end of their season last year. A couple players here and there. So, and they started pretty decently this year. They are a decent team. And so going into that game, it was, a real test of, number one, the other independent team. We're starting on the road. It's been kind of a wild week.
They beat us twice last year.
We just finished, yeah, they did. And, we're still figuring out, I think, who we are, how we want to play, how we want to create chances, how we want to defend. And so you go into that game.
Yeah, let's talk with the lineup, because this is where it starts, because Chris made a change. And what I would say, like, this is the first game this season where I went, oh shit, like Chris beat this guy. And like, you don't always get that with a manager, right? Meaning, like, a lot of times you put the players out in the way that makes sense, and then the players play, and the players play the system. But like, there was a tactical wrinkle in this game that, from my opinion, and I'll just start with it, it's Jesus as a false 9 matching up 3 front guys against their back 3. But we put Jesus, who was mobile and who was very smart, and who did like just all sorts of running around, being tricky, dragging Ibrahim Kovi all over the field. And I think that's a big reason that Kovi gets a red card, because he's chasing Jesus. He commits a dumb yellow early, and then he's creating all sorts of he's pulling Kovi out, and we're getting balls through. We're getting stuff. I mean, they're fouling all over the place. They're nervous. And I think a lot of that was that we chose to line up Keegan out wide, play long, and we'll talk about the lineup, but play long, ball to Keegan when we needed to, target winger, which he did wonderfully. And then Jesus just drove Kovi crazy in the middle. They have two holding midfielders, but they're not holding midfielders. They're farther forward. They weren't following Jesus. And Jesus just, if you were I don't know how much you could see on the camera from home, but if you we were on the end lines, we could just see the whole field in front of us. And we're just watching Jesus run around and Kovi try to follow him. And he was constantly out of position. He was constantly struggling, and Jesus would just give the ball back, dribble, turn, do whatever he needed to do, but it worked. Obviously Kovi has the striker's finish in the first couple minutes, which is chef's kiss, but it worked to perfection, where we could play out of pressure when we needed to because Carolina core presses, and so we could play out to Keegan, and that worked. And then we could also, and that would help us. And then we could also just cause havoc in that middle, in possession and out of, with Jesus. It was very, very fun. A true false nine, which I don't think we've seen a false nine in many seasons, a true false nine, other than, I guess, Marcus against Atlanta, kind of.
Yeah, a little bit. And that's mostly just him dropping in deep. So let's talk about the lineup real quick. Just for those of you that like having the top line score, the game finishes 4-1 CFC. Eldon in goal, Fareed at right center back, Nathan Kohler at the center back position, Ethan Dudley, the left center back. It's a back three. It's a 3-4-3. Tate Robertson and Milo at right and left wing backs, respectively. Nick Mendonça and Callum Watson in central midfield. And then I think that's actually Callum's first start in the center of the park in this 3-4-3. He had been lining up as kind of the right winger, playing a kind of a hybrid wing 10 role in that 3-4-3. I
think it's a big reason that this game went so well as well. Him in possession, he really dictated metronome style. He really dictated the rhythm of the game in deep. It was wonderful.
So Keegan is the one that takes that right wing position as kind of a target winger. You've got Daniel Mangarov at left wing. And then, as mentioned, Jesus Ibarra at the striker position, but playing it more as a false nine
/ free.
I would argue less of a specifically play this as a false nine, and more put Jesus in a position, and Jesus is going to do Jesus things from that position. I'll say, if I said this on this podcast once, I've said it a million times. Personnel is policy. You don't necessarily need to tell a player, "Hey, I want you to do these 5 specific things in this role." Sometimes you put a player in a certain role or in a certain position, knowing that player is going to do what that player does. And you can affect the game in that sort of way.
Jim, when you saw that lineup and you saw that it was listed as Jesus in the middle, Mangrove out left, and Keegan out right, how sure were you that they fucked up the lineup graphic?
I didn't. I don't think I... I think I was like, well, somebody put this in the wrong order. It doesn't make any...
I thought the same thing. I was like, these dummies.
I mean, the 3 up top, that makes sense.
The personnel made sense.
Yeah, but where you have them,
I think Matthew's quote to me via text was, "Holy shit, Jesus really is playing in the center."
And one of the things that's been a feature of the 3-4-3 is that they don't stay there. They move around, they adjust.
For sure.
There was a stretch there in the first half of the Crown Legacy game, and we'll get to that, where, there's a solid 5-minute stretch where, Minja is just playing, in that middle position. Things adjust, they evolve. I think that's a key... I think that's a key and critical component to the players that were given contracts for this team. Sebastian's talked about it in pretty much every single press release. They want guys that can do multiple things within the flow of a game.
Well, and then it's not only just within the flow of the game, which I agree. We have more different types of players in a much deeper roster. This is something that's giving me good vibes right now, because we have, unlike previous years, where if your a tired starter was a lot better than a fresh backup. And right now, a fresh backup in many of these positions, not all of them, is significantly better. Mixie, come here. is significantly better than a tired starter because the backup and the starter just aren't that different. And that's what you want, right? Like, it's not the only thing you want. You obviously want starters that are excellent and that raise your level. But having a Stevie and a Nick, as an example, that can change your rounds. Having a Callum who does different things, but Callum who's able to play out wide, though I didn't love him out wide. I think you want him on the ball as much as possible, but like who's able to play out wide, he's able to play the 10 and able to play the one of the holding midfielders. The Logan Ethan thing that's happening where like Fareed plays essentially one of the two sides, Nathan often plays the middle, and then like one of Logan or during the game, Logan or Ethan, or just they can switch Ethan for Nathan or whatever else at any time, and the performance doesn't drop. Like the performance actually raises a little bit because the fresh player provides fresh legs. And Mango coming in or starting, depending, and then having somebody come in after him. Keegan coming off the bench, like Peter Plougmand coming off the bench. Like I feel like what we haven't been able to do is change games the past few years in our pro history very much with personnel off the bench. Like occasionally it happens, but not a regular thing. We are regularly changing. Look at the second half against Crown Legacy, which we'll get to, and the second half against Orlando. The subs can truly change things, and the subs can calm a game down too. Not just change games offensively, but calm things down defensively, and it's really, really, really good.
And I think you just gave a preview of an answer to one of the mailbag questions about how the personnel has changed, and there's been a lot of rotation. So.
Yes, I do. I have an additional thought on that, but yes, that is part of that's kind of what informs my thought on the personnel.
Let's go to the summary real quick here.
Beautiful.
So CFC opens the scoring in the 13th minute. It's an own goal by Carolina Core center back Ibrahim Kovi.
That's one of the greatest own goals I've ever seen.
I was so confused. I literally because I was at the viewing party.
Oh, how was it?
It was fine.
Where was it?
Neat space. What's that? What's
the
place?
Marriott?
Clover?
No, it was at the Choo Choo.
Clover. It's clever. First off, pub partner. No, you're thinking Gate 11.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, cool. I've not been to a watch party there.
Yeah, it's fine. It was fine. I mean, we had the 20 people there.
I love Gate 11 in general. I've just never done anything but had like a drink there.
Yeah. So it was. So you really didn't hear. Of course, you're not really hearing the commentary. You're just watching.
Sure.
And so
as the good Lord intended.
It's just something. It's like all of a sudden he just turns and kicks the ball into his net, and I'm like, did the whistle go and he's mad, or because it looked just really weird, like and it seemed like everybody around took a pause before
is this real
before celebrating, so I wasn't sure. Like I literally had to wait to see the center ref point to this.
There's an old phrase, I think it's in a 30 for 30 about the Indiana Pacers and the New York Knicks playing a playoff basketball game where Reggie Miller like hit 2 threes to tie a game and then hit 2 free throws to win a game in the Garden. And the guy who fouled him, whose name I forget, uttered the phrase in retrospect, "Man, did that dude just did this?" And that's what went through my head.
Yeah.
When Kovi tried to clear a ball, and I think it hit his shin. Like
he just slices
the turf.
it.
The turf was. I don't know if it was nice turf or if it was bad turf or if it was just like.
It's not soccer turf. It's baseball turf.
And that ball bounced in weird ways, and mysterious ways.
So from our vantage point, like the 9 or 11 of us, whatever it was that were there, Carolina, we were so low in the what is the outfield, but is the just kind of behind the goal, just off to one side. We thought Keegan finished it because like Keegan was like blocking the view of Kovi from our perspective, and so like we sang for Keegan. We're like, Keegan, nice job. And I didn't find out until after the game that it was Kovi because I asked him, I was like, did you score that or did he? Like, no, that was an own goal.
Oh,
and I was like,
it was the ownest goals.
Well, I saw the replay. It's awesome.
Yeah, I mean it's
a striker's finish.
It's a beautiful finish. I mean, the ball sits up on the half volley and just
bottom corner, like it's everything you could ever want.
Absolutely. It's just
that was only
it's everything I could ever want.
That was the beginning.
I disagree. It was perfect.
That was the beginning of a really rough day for Mr. Kovi.
Yeah.
But
who's a very good player.
Carolina gets their goal just 5 minutes later.
It was that was right in front of us.
It's one of those things you can't let a player like Jacob Evans get the ball in his own box and with just a little bit of time and space to pick out somebody. He is incredibly good delivery, whether that's from a set piece or from just the flow of play. That's a really good player. He's contributed goals and assists in his time with Houston too. He had a bunch of goals and assists last year for Carolina Core. Incredibly important piece.
He has
they
a bunch
brought
this
back.
year. He has a goal or an assist,
And
I
he
think, in every
already
game.
and he already has like a bunch of goal contributions this year. That's just a good player, and gave him a little bit of time, a little bit of space, and he picks out literally the one guy that he needed to pick out.
It's a perfect ball.
And it's a good finish too. And it's a good finish too.
Buddy, if he missed that, it would have been incredibly difficult.
If he missed it, it would have been a bad finish, but he didn't miss it.
I think he landed with his feet on the end on the goal line. Like,
Love it. Great job. He scored a goal. Fair play.
It was a dunk. It was an alley-oop.
Yeah, well, and Evans I think he had a good game.
I like him. I like him a lot.
He's a really good player.
And if when we shuffle things next year, we liked him last year, but I really like him even more now that I've watched him more this year. Like if we shuffle things around and he's looking for a place and we need a guy that can like in possession help change games, like he's one of those guys that can for sure do it in this league.
That's a good player. We go on to the 34th minute. There's a set piece opportunity, and I think it's one of the situations where we got one of the center backs on a yellow card. I think we yellow carded every center back in this game, maybe more than once. Definitely one of them more than once. And
No, for real, we just kept. I mean, like Keegan starts it to begin the game, like the 16th minute or something. Like the guy shoves Keegan, and Keegan bends down to get the ball right after because he kind of gives him a little shove, and then Keegan like bends down to pick up the ball or something, and the guy just shoves him again, and he just goes down like out right in front of the fourth official, right in front of the benches. Like he almost smacks his face on the advertising boards, and it's just like the dumbest, most petulant little foul. But obviously Keegan was in that guy's head.
Yeah.
And like every time they were nervous, you could feel the nerves. Like every time we would, I don't know like what it was, but every time we would go to get around them or like have a play in, and I think it's because they were so out of sorts from Jesus running around, Keegan getting the ball, and I think they were just like isolated. They were on little islands, and they just started like whoever it was just started fouling people. Like whoever was getting exposed in that moment or potentially getting, which is foul somebody, and the referee was not having any of it. It was just yellow card after yellow card, and obviously
you
results in Covey getting a yellow.
You could go through and look at this,
And a
but
red.
like right before Covey's own goal, he gets his yellow card in the 11th minute. Josh Rodriguez gets a yellow card in the 17th minute. Mendonça picks up a yellow card. Paul Leonardi picks up a yellow card at the end of the first half. Like just relentless. And there were obviously more. So like think about it like in terms of Covey's day. Yellow card right off the bat, then he owned goals.
Then he yellow cards for the
And then he comes out. So yeah, 34th minute CFC goal. It's Fareed Sarsar off of a brilliant ball in by Tate.
gorgeous.
Just really, really good stuff. Just loses his man, directs it onward. We restore the advantage. And that's how we go into halftime. Although not without some really nice stuff at the end of the first half from Eldon to keep it 2-1. Second half, and I'm noting this in the summary because goals and red cards change games. 47th minute, off the jump. Covey brings down Mangarov.
Who hasn't beat?
Who has him? He's gone. And the ball still skates through. The referee plays advantage. Jesus puts the ball from a really tough angle
Off the post.
By
By the way, we were behind the goal. It's not as tough an angle as you think it is. He beats the guy. He gets the moment, and like he makes the space, and then he has a small window to finish in.
Yeah.
But like he does a really good job to open up that window, and then he just puts it a half inch too wide.
Yeah, off the post, out of play. It's going to be a goal kick. Referee goes back and gives the second yellow card. I think sometimes in a play advantage type scenario, you don't always see the yellow card given.
Totally.
Yeah.
But that was already he was already past his warning.
Well, and like it's arguably dog, so it's arguably a red card to slide from behind. He just obviously gives him a second yellow, so it's a red. But like it's arguably a straight red for several reasons. Like Mango could have gotten really hurt there. Like it's dangerous play. So good thing he didn't. Thank goodness. But yeah, it's wonderful that the referee actually served justice there instead of like hiding behind the you got a good chance there.
Yeah. I was a little bit worried, even though that we were going to be up a man for the rest of the game, because that's a golden opportunity. That's our big chance that we didn't put away. And when you don't put away your chances, you give the other team life and hope and the ability to come back in a game.
Shout out Rod Underwood,
And
who told us that on the podcast. I'm not talking shit.
yeah. Yeah.
I just realized how that sounded after I came out. No, he told us that. Like you have to put your foot on their neck.
Yeah,
you have to
put it
finish your
to the
chances.
sword.
If you
Absolutely.
create the big chance, you have to
Finish
score.
it. Otherwise,
Yeah,
they
you-
get every big chance you miss, they get hope.
Yep.
And one thing that's actually happening, this is a total tangent here, but we're not in most of the time, and sample sizes are small here, but like we're not giving up like 75 quarter chances in a game. We're doing a fairly decent job, Huntsville game notwithstanding, and maybe the Atlanta game too, of not giving up 20 shots in a game. We're giving up 12 or so. A couple of them are
Like
ginormous.
17 or 18,
But those big chances, that we're giving up, we're saving as well. Whether it's a last ditch block, whether it's Eldon doing unreal Eldon stuff, whether it's an inexperienced player not taking their chance well. Those big chances that other teams are not converting so far this season against us is giving our players hope, and it is demoralizing their players.
By the way, Fareed had the game of his CFC career.
It was unreal.
He had a block that was basically a sure goal. That was an unbelievable block. He had the goal, and he had like 4 or 5 clearances that were just spectacular.
we blocked a lot. We blocked at least 4 or 5
differently-
shots.
We
Differently
we
than-
block a crazy amount of shots.
Yeah.
Like
But-
if you look at the number of shots that are getting on target versus the number of shots that are being taken against us,
Yeah. If you did XG for on target, it would be. I mean,
it's incredibly low.
Yeah, it's
and that's
low.
one thing why I want to wait until we get to 10 games to really talk about stuff like that.
But Fareed was immense in this game. He does that anyway. He blocks a lot, but like this game was particularly. One of his blocks was like point blank. Like he's a yard in front of Eldon, and the guy's a yard in front of him, and Eldon's a yard in front of the goal. Like it's a great chance, and like Fareed just takes it away. He was excellent. And I think someone told me that his parents were at this game.
yeah. Well, we need
So
to,
that
we
was
need-
very cool.
We
Yeah,
need to bring up donation to make sure they can
They
come
get here
to-
every game.
They come to every game.
I think they were. I think he had family at the home game against Crown as well. So 53rd minute, not long after the red card, not long after the Jesus chance off the post. Tate Robertson finds himself with the ball in the middle of basically in the middle of the box. A nice little play down the left hand side.
Slides it over to him.
Milo plays it across. It's just behind. I think it's just behind Keegan. He can't quite get there, but Jesus is there and he just rolls it across, and Tate just smashes it. First time. I think there's a deflection off a Carolina Core player.
There's no think. It's going to Sutton's right, our left, on the camera shot, and it may be going in or it may be getting blocked by the leg, but it doesn't matter because a player hits the ball and it goes to Sutton's left and goes right in, and so it's an own goal, quote unquote, but it's not an own goal. It gets the credit because it's on target.
Right.
Don't know if it would have gone in or if it would have got saved, but it's awesome because it's a good chance. It's well taken and it scores,
Yeah,
and
I
it gives
need-
us that third goal that we really fucking needed.
I need you to not ever say own goal ever again. That is a beautiful goal.
From
And
Tate Robertson.
that did take a slight deflection past the goalkeeper.
Fine. I agree. Don't leave me hanging. Don't leave me hanging.
The game really calms down from there. There's still some action or whatever, but there's not too much going on. We manage it really well. 69th minute, Logan Brown
Nice.
comes on, Minjae Kwok comes on. Those are for Kohler and Mangarov.
Nice.
Mangarov had a really good game. Didn't show up much on the stat sheet.
He took a beating. He
took a beating.
I think he drew 3. Truly, I think he drew 3 yellow cards. I think
Possibly.
he definitely drew 2. I think he drew 3.
And I mean this in like the most loving way possible, but like Mango's a little bit of a bastard, and you want that player on your team
For sure.
like that relentless
Yes.
kind of player who's
Yeah.
gonna draw fouls, who's gonna get in your head,
Who's gonna
who's
kick
gonna
you.
turn up, he's gonna kick you if you go past him. He's gonna turn up in the box, and we saw this against Orlando. He's gonna turn up in the box. He's just gonna fucking fire something home.
He's awesome, man.
He's had a great start to his season in his first year as a professional.
I don't know how you take him off the field. I'm not saying he doesn't like. He's gonna occasionally need rotation or whatever else, but he is currently just in our best 11 without a doubt. Not even.
I mean, he's on the sheet
In Sharpie.
Yeah. I mean,
So we also make a couple subs in the 78th minute. Stevie Louis Jean comes on for Nick Mendonça. Peter Plougmand comes on for Jesus Ibarra. And not a minute later, we have a ball out. Peter does some great hold-up play in the left-hand channel. Holds the ball, waits for a little bit of support, sends it back to Callum. Callum looks like for a second there that he's going to recycle play towards the right-hand side or a little bit deeper. And then sees an opening, turns his body, dribbles in a little bit, and then plays the ball for Minjay. And Minjay Kwok has maybe the assist of the year.
So far, it for sure is the assist of the year.
Just like he's in the pocket between two center backs. Ball comes in, and he just lays that thing first time just deep. And it takes Daniel Chica, the Carolina core center back, playing on the right inside of that three, just fully by surprise. And just lays it. And Peter has, after Peter held up the ball, he kind of like floated in a little bit. And then as soon as that ball starts coming in for Minjay, he just flares out a little bit.
To start running in.
And Minjay just drops it first time. It's the only way this works. And
dude, the weight on Minjay's pass.
It's unbelievable.
There's nothing about Minjay's pass that isn't perfection.
And I completely missed this goal.
You haven't seen it?
Missed it. I was talking to somebody.
Oh.
I just completely.
So you saw it later, though?
No, because I don't do the the 90 and 15 or whatever.
Are you saying you have not seen this
Buddy,
goal?
we're going to watch this live for you right now.
I'm not seeing the
You
goal.
have to watch this.
I'm not seeing the goal because we can't rewatch. This is my weekly
complaint. I agree with you. 90 and 15s.
Yeah, I know.
Are better than nothing. Also, yeah.
I'm boycotting 90 and 15s.
I can't believe you right now.
There are also maybe somebody who figured out how to
No.
go back and watch some games occasionally.
I know. Yeah, I understand.
Unbelievable.
I understand. Yes, I'm outing myself. I did not see.
Well, I need you to.
Actually, I didn't see 2 of the 4 goals. To be honest,
I'm only worried about one of them.
There's only one of these that is life changing.
Well, I can watch it later.
No.
You're just gonna watch it now.
You're gonna watch it right now.
I'm gonna watch it and I'm gonna enjoy it.
You are, and the listeners are just gonna have to listen and watch us watch it because it's
hit play.
Hit play
or hit just the space bar.
Now, so that goal makes it 4-1. Great finish for Peter. That's his first league goal for CFC. That's his first competitive goal for CFC. Yeah.
Did you see the celebration?
Oh, wait a minute. No, I didn't. Oh no. I saw the celebration,
but not the goal.
But I didn't see the goal.
Dude, that layoff. Watch the slow motion of that layoff. It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
so the game.
I do that in FIFA all the time.
So the game,
my man,
from there is just managed really, really well. There's a big chance right at the very end, off a quick restart, but game finishes 4-1. Vibes high. Things are great. Robert Screen makes an appearance for Tate Robertson in the 84th.
At right wing back for the first time this season.
Yeah. Yeah.
First time he's played out wide.
I think he played in the Open Cup briefly out there. He also played 7 positions during the Open Cup game.
We didn't play in the Open Cup this year.
Yeah.
I took this year off.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to point out, actually 2 things I want to point out, and then we'll move on to the next game. Tate Robertson scored a goal. He had an assist. And he gets credited with a hockey assist for causing an own goal. That is, and the reason why that's
what? That's not a thing.
That's the first own goal.
Yeah, that's a thing.
No, it's not a thing.
Yeah, it's a goal contribution.
Okay.
He contributed to the goal.
Is it an Opta goal contribution or is it a whiskey goal contribution?
It's a whiskey goal contribution, which is why also it goes in as a hockey assist.
Not a real assist. Not an MLS assist, a hockey assist.
I understand what he means by hockey, a secondary assist. I understand that.
But I'm just saying Matthew has a different standard than MLS has for secondary assists.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so that's why he calls them hockey assists.
So, in case you're curious, we track officially we track goals and assists.
But
I add hockey assists in general, and one of the things I do with hockey assists, it's not just the pass before the pass. It's if you earn a penalty and it's converted, you get the hockey assist. If you cause an own goal, you get the hockey assist. That's our first own goal in I don't know how long, by the way. Legitimately, I don't know how long. But I bring up that point for those 3 goal contributions, 1 goal, 1 assist, 1 hockey assist. That's the first time that's happened for a CFC player since the summer of 2019. Juan Hernandez. Just in case you're curious. Fun facts.
Hell yeah.
But there's only one person on the planet that would be able to recite that statistic.
Bingo.
That's true.
That guy.
That's me.
Because he's the only person who keeps that stat.
Yes. Yes.
Using scare quotes.
Oh,
Well,
no.
I want to say something.
Listen, I love a stat. You know, I love a stat. So.
I want to say something really quickly about the Carolina Core setup. It's soccer in a baseball stadium. The mound is impossible to see. It's good. Like they did a really nice job. It is actually difficult to notice if you pay really close attention, you can see obviously where the infield is, but like it's not.
You can tell on TV, but that's just because the angle's different.
Right, but you're right. Yeah, fair point. But there, you can't really see it very. When you start staring, and you're like, oh, there it is. I see it. But it lays out really well. 3 sides are laid out beautifully for stands, whatever else. The stadium was nice. Shout out to the Skulk folks. That's their supporters group. A Skulk is Yeah, I got that. I put their sticker on my
it's a nice sticker.
On my
I noticed that when I walked in.
Sticker trash can. But trash can in my office has a bunch of stickers on it, and because my dogs get into it, I have to keep it up. And it has to be up. It's actually in the background of all my Zoom calls. So like that's why I started putting stickers on it. Because I'm like, I don't want just a trash can in the back of my thing. So I mean, it's got a bunch of CFC stickers. Obviously, you can see it. Everybody else can't see it. But they were really cool. They set up a tailgate for us. For the Skulk folks did. Like they were wonderfully hospitable. The club and the Skulk folks treated us so differently than all the other MLS teams have treated us. Even the ones that like have treated us well, like Huntsville's been awesome to deal with, and like we've like developed a really nice working relationship. But it's not the same. The independent feel of this was just like, yeah, how can we make you guys? It's not like, oh, we're going to accept this thing like you guys want to do. And like, I'm not shitting on Huntsville because Huntsville's actually been really great. But like, you go to like Atlanta and you're like, hey, we want to do this thing, and they're like, we have rules. Like, and it's just like thing for Carolina. They were just like, how can we make this work for you guys? What do you want? Like, how do we do this? Great, we're so happy you're here. Like. It was exactly what I wanted an independent team to treat us like. Is exactly how I think we would treat others, and like it just ruled. Like it was very much like actions speak louder than words, and their actions were awesome. So shout out to them. Also, High Point had like High Point University shit everywhere, which wish Ellie was here to yell about. They had High Point University stuff everywhere and Carolina Core stuff everywhere. Just everywhere, all over town. Like,
cool.
There's like really cool beer hall, food hall thing right next to the stadium that was like people were dressed. They had a Carolina Core shop in there. People throughout that were working at the places who were not affiliated with the club were like wearing Carolina Core gear. There was Carolina Core stickers and magnets everywhere. It was really cool. Like the vibes were just like A+.
I swear they moved High Point further away because. When in my mind, when I was going to go to this, I was like, oh yeah, it's like 3 hours there. We can go to the game in 3 hours back. And then I looked and I'm like, I mean, 5.5, 6 hours. What happened?
Did you think High Point was in Murphy?
I don't know, Matt. I don't know.
Also, shout out to the announcer who, when Tate Robertson leapt over the field board and went to shake Alex McGrath's hand, and because Alex was there, he was like, "Oh, he goes and finds a random fan or whatever." Yeah. And how, and I don't blame the announcer. I'm not mad. Like, how are you gonna know? Like, but it's just hilarious. Also, a bunch of Peter Plougmand's folks came up because Mars Hill's a couple hours away. And that was really cool. And then
or by how I read maps, maybe 10, 15 minutes.
Buddy, I thought it was like 5 hours too. And it was over 6 when we drove up and back each way. So
well, there's an interstate you can't take anymore.
You can take a lane on it.
Oh, still
one lane each direction.
Oh, okay.
It was good, but it was awesome. Thank you. If the Carolina folk, any of the Carolina folks listen to this, thank you guys for the hospitality. It was wonderful. I can't wait to reciprocate that hospitality for you guys down here later this season. I don't know if they're going to be able to make later this season. Some of them had some schedule conflicts, or if it'll be next season. But it exceeded my expectations, and I should have had higher expectations because it was really awesome, and I can't wait to do it again.
All right, let's bring this train back a little bit onto the tracks. This is the thing we do sometimes on the podcast where we just take a quick gander at some of the ages of the opposition players. Obviously, Carolina Core being an independent team and being the only other independent team, like their window is a little bit different than some of the other opponents we have this year.
Well, and they brought back so many of the same players that they've gotten a whole year older, which a lot of times these teams don't get any older. So
the goalkeeper is 24, the back line 23, 25, 22. These are the starters. Midfield across it 25, 21, 25, 22, then 17, 26, and 27 for your starters. Bench ages 26, 20, 22, 21, 20, 25, 20, 19, 22. Carolina always ran a little bit, definitely ran younger than us last year. They have continued that streak. We are, again, the oldest team in the league. No real surprise when you start a 40-year-old.
Well, yeah, I mean, you add Marcus and Eldon in between those two, like you add.
Brings up the average a little bit.
But we're older. Like, we're older than other teams. And I think it's showing right now with how the points are picking up.
I want to point out, though, we are younger than we were last year.
Our average age?
Our average age has actually ticked down a little bit. Not much because, well, Marcus got a year older and we added Eldon. But, like, for the, the 10 or so year changeover at goalkeeper, you got to remember our other goalkeeper was 27. Yeah. Mike got a year older, and that other goalkeeper position got 5 years younger right there. So
balances out.
It balances out. Like, JP moving on, Tolley moving on. We got a tick younger in 3 or 4 years in each of those positions. It adds up over the whole roster. Let's move on to Crown Legacy. Home game on April 19th. Final score is 2-1.
Spoilers,
CFC. This was an interesting game. Crown came out pretty well. It was kind of like, I feel like it was one of those like classic trap games a little bit. Like, Crown has not had great results this year, but I don't think they're bad. I still think they're figuring out they're figuring out their group. They brought in, I think, 3 players in the offseason for real money. And when I say real money, I mean like $1.5 million each or more. And so, like, young, super talented, and sometimes it takes players like that. And this goes for any team you root for. Sometimes it takes your new big money signing time to adapt. Maybe it's to the country, maybe it's to the league, maybe it's to the language. And what we saw is some of those players are incredibly good.
The winger is fucking amazing.
Yeah, the winger was unbelievable. The center midfielder had a really, really good first half. And spoiler alert, he makes a critical mistake.
Buddy, that's not a mistake. That's an assist.
that Jesus is able
great pass.
Jesus is able to intercept and score the game-winning goal on. So we go back for this match summary.
And when we get to that goal, I'll tell you, I was so confused at what happened because, again, I'm talking to somebody.
You got to quit running your mouth, dude.
No. You have to stop. Don't watch games, man. Clearly, this is on you.
No, it's working. Yeah. I take it back. I'm with Matt.
Crown scores in the 21st minute. That's Magic Smalls, the left winger.
All name team.
100% all name team.
That's by the way, that's not a professional player. Like, he's still in the academy at 18 years old.
He's fucking good, dude.
Yeah.
His brother's playing for Crown Legacy now. Playing for the first team. He was on Crown Legacy last year.
So I didn't see. I didn't hear who scored until I went on like Plougmand, and I'm like, Magic Small. Is that some like name they put in there when they don't know who it is? And like,
Magic. That's his older brother is Tiger. No. Who scored against us last year, by the way.
Oh, okay.
You're like, wait a minute.
Yeah, so Tiger was on a.
I want to meet his parents. I want to meet,
dude. Their parents. All name.
But Magic. I mean, Tiger. Okay, Magic Smalls.
Yes.
I mean, that's
it's fucking unbelievable names.
Yeah, I mean, so, I may name like my next the show pitcher Magic Smalls on MLB 25.
There you go. Hell yeah. I want to say great pitcher name.
So Tiger was on a first team contract last year, but he played primarily with the second team, Crown Legacy. He is pretty exclusively now with the first team with Charlotte. In fact, like it's something insane. Like 4 or 5 of the goal scorers against us last year for Crown are now like just exclusively with the first team. I think it's 5 of the goal scorers of like 5 out of 7, which is ridiculous. But like, this is what Crown does. This is how they use their second team. and it's working out really, really well for them at the first team level. Magic Smalls scores 21st minute.
And it was a really nice on their part.
Really good finish. Really nice goal.
Really nice goal.
Really good finish.
I'm going to pause. I'm going to pause there because I want to go through the starting lineup because of a halftime substitution that will very much matter in how we do the rest of the summary here. So Eldon gets the start in goal. No surprise there. Logan Brown is the starter at right center back. We've seen Logan and Ethan alternate a little bit, but what we hadn't seen yet in terms of this particular combination of players is that Nathan Kohler, a left footer, maintained his spot at the center of the three center backs. Fareed Zarzar goes out to left center back. Tate and Milo at the wing backs, no surprise. Callum Watson in the central in the middle of midfield, no surprise. Stevie Louis Jean got his first league start in place of Nick Mendonça. And folks, you got to see the full Stevie experience.
Yes.
That man exclusively saved 2 goals just through sheer athleticism and recovery. It was among the most incredible shit I've ever seen.
But I was afraid I was afraid at one point he almost gave them a goal. But yes,
young players, man.
Full Stevie experience.
Young players.
I know.
Development is not linear.
So I would say like one goal. When I say he saved it, it's not on the 90 and 15. I got somebody that like was able to find the like thing and like send it to me, and like it is the run back because I missed it live. The run back to catch that guy because the guy's just ahead of Fareed, and he just runs him down in a way that we haven't had a player since I don't fucking know.
Maybe
Soren,
never.
So I think it's Soren Uhasek, truly, because in the MPSL, Soren used to chase down guys like that. Because Soren's not the same, but Soren at top speed was a fucking unbelievable athlete in general. And then like see ball, go ball, chase ball. Like he would just like Soren would just like he had a free roll basically at center back to just go murder whatever he needed to do. And like sometimes he would make those enormous, ridiculous recovery runs to like slide it away or whatever else. Stevie's another level above him athletically, but league comparison wise, it fits. That's the last player we've had that could make that run back.
Menjay and Mango were your right and left wingers, forwards, I really should say. And then Jesus reprised his appearance at the striker position. Crown was playing a 4-4-2. And, there's a question in the mailbag about this. Going with essentially 3 guys at the forward positions, and none of them are a true central forward, I don't think worked, personally, if we're being honest. And, we created like one really, really good chance in that first half. And on another day, it could be 1-1 at halftime. It also could have been like 2-0 at halftime the other direction. Eldon makes an unbelievable save close to halftime to keep things level. To keep things at 1. We go into halftime. We have a substitution at halftime, and we have a formation change. Peter Plougmand comes in for Logan Brown. We go to a back 4, and it's pretty classic 4-3-3 with kind of 2 players, like Stevie sitting as the 6, Callum ahead of him as one of the 2 10s, and then Jesus Ibarra drops. So he maintains his central position, but he drops in a little bit to the other 10 position. Peter goes up top. And right off the bat, you could tell a difference, both in terms of momentum, where the ball was, where the field tilt was, creating chances, immediately on the move. And we get our first goal of the game in the 51st minute.
In!
Mango is at the right corner, just drops a ball for Tate. Tate settles it. He plays a ball in, and it's just a ridiculous header. It's just a ridiculous header by Peter Plougmand. It's in the back of the net. It's his second goal in the league in 2 games, second time off the bench. And it was just really, really, really good stuff. There's a couple more chances in there. He probably should have a second goal on the night. In the 58th minute, we have just come off of a really nice chance, a nice opportunity. Crown plays out of the back as they had been. And, Chris talks about in the post-game interview how that changing the formation and the personnel at halftime allowed us to press a little bit better and to actually do something with our pressure.
I think we struggled with the second, like Charlotte will go that 4-2-4 and then hit that longer ball, and we struggled to get the second balls. Part of that was just having two in midfield, so changing the numbers to give us three in there. I felt when we had the back four, we were progressing well, so just switching back to that at half time was a big factor, and then it just ended up having to get another forward on to press a little bit more. I felt they were good when they hit that long diagonal ball, and just the way we were set up in the first half didn't really allow us to press that way, and we couldn't get tight enough to it, so that was the reason for the change.
And it's a really nice moment where the ball goes into central midfield and the guy's just trying to, bypass the press, not checking at all that Jesus had cheated from his position in the center, because he was not the most forward 10. Callum was the most forward 10 pressing, but Jesus cheats, reads the play long before it actually happens, just intercepts the pass immediately, and he settles it. And then he just curls it top corner. Crown has no idea what happened.
I didn't either.
It's 2-1. And that was your game-winning goal.
So that was right off a goal kick. I mean, it was.
Yeah.
If it was right off a goal kick.
So really quick,
It's the way they would do that is one of the center backs would just tap it to the goalkeeper. Mm-hmm. Goalkeeper would play the next pass, and then that center midfielder would then play wide. And in the first half, they would just get out of pressure immediately. That one pass just gets them out. In the second half, we have an extra body up there.
Yeah.
So he plays that pass, and now it's intercepted.
Yeah.
So Matthew and I had dubbed something both on and off this podcast as MLS Next Pro Goals. If you watch this league, and I know you don't watch a lot of the 1915s, but I watch most of the Eastern Conference ones. And what you'll see, and I have watched some of the Western Conference ones, but I just don't watch them regularly. What you'll see is like in not every game, one in every 2 games, one in every 3 games, whatever it is, you will see a horrific goal where somebody just gives it away just like this and like somebody scores. And you're like, geez, that was bad. And it comes from like the development and like playing out.
Playing out of the back for
development purposes, not for winning purposes. But Matthew and I called them MLS Next Pro Goals, like because they are particularly bad, right?
And they happen more often in this league than they would another one. They do happen at every level of the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the frequency is, I would argue, much more. 3 times or 4 times or 5 times higher in this league or whatever.
It was like a Twitter account when playing out the back goes.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yes. And so it's that same thing. But what hasn't happened, and this is something that Matthew and I have talked about before, is that we didn't get a single one of those last year. Not a single one. Part of that is I don't believe we were in positions pressing-wise to do it. We also didn't have the athletes to get the turnover and get the moment. Like if Alex McGrath didn't do it, nobody was going to do it type of thing. And Alex McGrath obviously had some of those moments in all of our leagues leading up to this where he takes the ball away and then he scores. But this type of goal, this MLS Next, this is our first one. He was yelling at me from up in the section because I was on the capo stand for this goal. He goes, "That's the first one. That's the first MLS Next Pro goal," and it is. It's the first time we've capitalized and gotten one of those and we haven't screwed it up. We've made a couple turnovers and then like missed the pass or whatever else. But it's a wonderful thing, and it's something that we've talked about. We have to be able to take advantage of because in this league, you have to take what they give you, and these little fuckers are going to create like several good chances a game, no matter who you are. Like I'm interested once we get in the middle of the season. I bet you the XG totals for each team are higher cumulatively than most other leagues, meaning the amount of games in which there's 2 XG for each team is going to be so much higher than in most other leagues, like the cumulative XG totals, because like the defending is not quite as good and the offensive players like have moments of absolute magic. And then also you have shit like this, which that's a huge XG chance. I don't know what it ends up being because like a guy gets back, but like it's a turnover, a dribble, a setup, and a finish.
Yeah, that's probably a point.
He turns the ball over in the
0.25,
box. Like
0.3, something like that.
It's got to be bigger than that, man.
I don't think so because the guy gets back.
0.3.
So Jesus told me after the game, sorry, Jesus, if this was supposed to be in confidence, but he's like, I took an extra touch there and I thought I fucked it up. He's like, but thank goodness I didn't. But you know, that's a paraphrase actually, but it was something of that nature because like he's like, he took one extra touch there where you should take it just like a split second before that. But like it doesn't matter. He finished it. It's perfect. Like I have no complaints. But he was just it was awesome.
It was a big chance. It was a big chance.
And I think it's a bigger chance if he takes it a half second earlier. Is my only point because the defender's coming in.
I mean, I had no idea. Again, I had no idea. There was a goal kick, and I'm like, oh, there's some time I have to talk to this person because it's a goal kick. And I turn, and next thing I know, everybody's yelling, and I'm like, what happened? What the hell happened?
So after the second goal, we ready a couple of subs. 63rd minute, Nick Mendonça arrives for Stevie Louis Jean. 63rd minute as well. Keegan Anslin comes in for Minjae Kwok. Then 78th minute, we're a little bit under pressure. Remember, it's still a back four. Ethan Dudley comes on for Nathan Kohler. Some fresher legs, a little bit bigger of a body. And then 83rd minute, Robert Screen comes on for Jesus Ibarra to just run around with some fresher legs in midfield. Crown gets 2 shots off in the second half, and they had a ridiculous amount of the ball. Something of absurd amount of the ball. Once we got our second goal, we pretty much had like the entire second half for the first 15 minutes, from 45 to 60. And then at that point, we ceded possession. We kind of locked in a little bit, and we just told them, beat us. Figure it out.
Yeah,
they took
just
2
passed
shots.
around.
They took 2 shots.
Yeah, 2
neither
shots.
of them were on target.
So there's a thing that's happening, and
There were a lot of crosses. Like we had to do some really good defensive work in that. But
I want to talk about. I want to go to a listener question now.
They got foully.
Yeah, they didn't have any, and they didn't have a lot of ideas. Yeah. I want to go to a little listener question, which is Ian Webb says something to the effect of, as long as you talk about Peter Plougmand, I don't have any questions, which I would argue is a question in and of itself. So Ian said something really fun to me on the way up. So it was me, Ian, and Eric that drove up together and drove back. And Ian said something really fun that I think is really true. Peter Plougmand makes really arrogant in the best possible way. Now I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but arrogant and aggressive, like optimistic is the word he used, optimistic, but I'm going to call him a little bit arrogant too, runs. So when they turn the ball over, or we think we're going to turn over, he's the guy going, I'm open, and going for just going long, like, give me the ball. And you see that it works, at least for now, because he may be a Norse god. And what that did, though, is we talked about it when we did the Mickey Mouse FC review, which is like his 2 runs open up a bunch of space. In the second half, because Peter's on, like as soon as we get the lead, they have to leave 2 more guys back, or at least playing back near Peter. So they don't get the numbers, unlike the Huntsville game, the Huntsville game in particular. And some other moments where like as soon as they try to push us in, like we see the belief of our guys in that if I get it to Peter, then I can move forward. I don't have to just kick it and reset.
He's going to keep it. He's going to advance it, and I need to get on my horse because this guy can fly as well.
Yeah. And then the other team is also terrified. I mean, if you watch, they were arrogant and they were defending. The very first minute of the second half, he spins a guy, goes baseline, cuts it back, and
they change one of their center backs with 12 minutes to go to try and put someone more athletic back there to deal with the counter threat.
And this is exactly, I don't remember when it was. I think I was with you guys, and this is exactly what I meant when I said a couple of years ago I wanted the team to be more assertive and aggressive, because 2 years ago, if we turn them over, we're cycling the ball. We're not our head up and sending it to a guy running.
Exactly.
And so,
but you got to remember, personnel is policy. Who was that player?
I would say that is policy as personnel. 2 years ago.
I mean, it's for sure a combination of both, right? We didn't have the personnel, but Matthew,
because that's not the way we're going to play.
Yes, correct. And we didn't sign players that could do that on purpose.
And the one player we did have that could be that option if you remember, was hurt for most of the season.
Yeah.
Taylor Gray.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and I don't have a problem with the way the style of play that we played. I appreciate possession, but you have to be able to shift gears at some point and
Yes.
I don't know if I need to talk to some folks, and maybe Matt, I'll ask you if you've looked at this, but I wanted to do a quick look at just kind of some stats at ASA, and I believe if I'm reading this right, that we have the longest average pass in MLS Next Pro, that is so different than what we would have done 2 or 3 years ago.
So while Matthew's looking that up, I want to talk about a listener question that fits in here great, I think, right now. What do you think was the motivation, this is Tom Gonzalez, for a starting lineup with no true striker? Will the second half formation from the Crown Legacy game be the latest evolution, or was that specific to that game?
If I had to wager a $5, I would say that we keep the 3-4-3. Because at least to start out games. I don't know why, for example, that Keegan didn't get the start in the Crown Legacy game, as an example, to be the 9, the focal point. I have a fairly good idea why Peter didn't get the start. You can see he got 15 minutes in the second round Open Cup game. He got 13 minutes in the Orlando game on the weekend. He got 13 or 12 minutes, whatever it was, in the Carolina Core game. These are not including stoppage time. And then he gets 45 minutes against Crown Legacy. You can clearly see like the amount of minutes he is playing is going up.
Yeah.
And I don't think he needed a 45 before he got something more like a 60 or 70. I would not be surprised to see him start on this weekend against Columbus.
So I'll add
why Keegan didn't start, as an example. I'm gonna guess that the staff thought they saw something that they wanted to exploit. Now, did it work? Mm-mm. I don't think so. I think that's why a change is made. But I think unlike in previous years where like we were who we were and that's exactly what we were going to be, I think Chris's philosophy on the game is, using different personnel to take advantage of things they see, and then changing that personnel to counter if it doesn't work or if they do something different, etc.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, Peter's been here a long time and maybe not got as many minutes as we would have liked for various reasons, but he's been great around the locker room. He's almost a cult hero in there. So they get just as excited as everybody else when he does score. We knew what Peter could bring and when he could bring it. So I think when you sign guys, you hope you're going to get as much of that top end as possible, whether it's the goalkeeper to the forward, and it's pleasing to see that and his instant impact.
Peter, Coach mentioned that you're kind of a cult hero in the locker room. So what does that say about your mentality? You came in, you're kind of one of the last ones. One is in for various reasons. What kind of mentality have you brought into this club?
I just think I brought in the person I am, just as a person and as a player too. I want to fight, and I have a very big passion for the game and a very big passion for the club. I've never played in front of so amazing fans before, so coming here and feeling that support just gives those extra % to fight even more, and I'm very grateful for that.
What did the manager say to you at half-time when you were brought on? Was there anything in particular being messaged to you?
Just to do my thing, to be a threat, to run behind, and always to be on the back of the defenders and try to score goals. That's what you want to do when you're a striker. And of course, to be in a position where I can set up my teammates and always just be a threat. So, yeah.
There's a secondary question here that's related. It's just thoughts on the second half shape versus Crown. It looked like we shifted to a back 4. We did. And Ibarra dropped into the midfield 3. Midfield depth is stressing me out, from Zach Taylor. So first of all, I don't think midfield depth should be stressing you out, Zach. I think we're deeper than you might think in the midfield. There's a lot of different players who can play there. Chris said it, and I'm planning to put a little clip back, and hopefully you've already watched it in this but he basically said, like, we needed to get another additional player forward in the press, which Matt talked about. And I think what you saw from this game in the past few games is that we have a lot more players who can play in midfield because this system is varied and not just like a 4-3-3 that plays like a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1 that only plays like a 4-2-3-1. This system varies a bit. So Jesus just played as a 10 in the second half. He was just a 10. He's also been a like back and forth type of winger or 9 dropping in. Like that makes Jesus a midfielder that I think I didn't realize we had. Mangarov, we saw in the preseason, played quite a bit of midfield. Sebastian told us on this podcast, sitting where Jim is, that like we wouldn't see him at wing very much. Well, it turns out like he's just been really good and we've moved him to wing. Like I'm not shitting on Sebastian. I'm saying like these players on purpose have like more attributes to play in more positions. I think you see Callum dropping deeper now. And for now, that is like really key to our being ability to keep the ball. I think between Nick, Stevie, and Callum, we have some real depth in those midfield 2 because we're only playing a midfield 2 there. And yeah, I'm not worried about the midfield depth. Losing Alex is a problem because losing your captain and starter just makes you a worse team.
Engine. I mean, he was the engine.
It makes you a worse team. So I'm not making an argument that we're better now, but we are better positioned than we have been in any other year to react and like still be competitive with losing Alex. I think in the long term, my personal position is we're going to end up with our best 11. I believe going back to a 4-man with 2 holding midfielders, because I think that's what we're going to need to be defensively solid in the second half. We'll see what happens. But like for now, I think we have the personnel to keep exploiting some weaknesses of the other teams based on the 4 of the last 6 halves being really good. And then I'll also go to this, since we're talking about lineups here. Ross Singer asks, what do you chalk up the crazy lineup changes from week to week, which is what you had mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
I think Chris wants to adjust game to game on who's playing well and small things they can exploit. And I think that a big problem with only having 13 or 14 guys that play most of the minutes is they run into fatigue. I talked to a player who shall remain nameless during the summer, and he said, like, look, one of our problems last year, one of our big problems, and I think one of the problems with like the players had in the locker room was like twofold. Like number one, like when you're playing and you're playing every game and you're playing all the games, even though you want to, you get tired. Mm-hmm. And like you get fatigue builds up, and just like having a random game off doesn't do it. You need to like limit some whatever. And then also guys that aren't playing and they can never get any minutes start like mentally shutting down just a little bit, because it's like, well, I'm not going to get the minutes, so X, Y, or Z. So there's a reason man management wise to like keep rotating and keep guys getting playing time. There's a longer term rotational thing where you want to keep guys fresh over the season. And then there's also just like we're changing things up. We're deeper, as I said earlier, than we've ever been, and we're able to like change the game by making those subs. So I think it's a combination of all those things.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not just that. I mean, yes, that there's a positive projecting forward, like you said, that we're gonna have less minutes on legs when we get deep into the season, but it's also a sign. It's a clear sign that we're deeper, way deeper than we've been. And it's a clear sign that the coaching staff, has the confidence to plug and play. And I think you said this earlier, you've got maybe 2 guys at a lot of positions that, while they may be different players, they may give you something slightly different, it doesn't mess up what they're trying to do on the pitch.
Yeah, I mean, look at like the striker depth we had last year for large portions of the season was just Medi.
Yeah.
Like it just, that was all that was there. We eventually got Marcus back, but Marcus signed mid-season after not coming. Marcus last year was not the Marcus he is this year. He had some productive moments, but right now Marcus is a level above what he was last year in these first few weeks. He's very good, but he's very different too from Keegan, who's been very, very good. And Keegan's very different from Peter, who's been very good in limited minutes. Like we have a 3-headed striker monster that we had won last year, essentially, for 90% of the year. And I mean, Carlos Rivas just never provided that same thing. So we're like across many positions, but the striker position as an example, like really in such a better place to, I mean, we had an injury, right? Like Peter was out for a long period. We missed him, I'm sure, but like we didn't miss him. Like we kept winning, you know? And that's a thing that I wouldn't have happened last year. If Medi had been out, we would have just been in trouble.
Yeah.
We just were in trouble when we didn't have Mehdi, as an example. And so, yeah, like you said, we have many, many positions that are like that.
Let's talk about the
Long
other.
pass?
What?
You want to talk about the long pass thing?
No, because I don't. The labels, like the little question mark labels, say the same thing for 3 different categories in there, and I don't want to say something because I don't understand it yet.
Like I said, I'm not. But
I think one of them is attempted, in which case we attempt our average pass attempted is the longest in the league, and I think one of them is completed, which you wouldn't be shocked to find out is shorter, right?
yeah, right.
And then there's like I think the difference between the two of those, which are.
Again, I'd only bring that up to that it is indicative of a team that does less. If you want to go to the extreme tiki taka, and more and less possession,
Agreed,
and more. I mean, I don't know this, but I'm willing to bet that we have made more diagonal long passes
already
this year than we did in 2 years, previously.
Agreed.
Very possible.
So that's the only reason I bring it up. Like I said, that like you mentioned, there's some wonkiness in how that stuff is labeled. So I wasn't entirely sure what I was looking at, but it was more the point that I wouldn't be surprised if and maybe we don't have the longest pass attempt in the league, but we certainly have longer pass attempts than we've had in the past.
For sure. So I'll read a next listener question. With Omzi and Alex out and other injuries too, Sean Weldon asks, do we have to make a signing to make it through the rest of the season? ? Do you have, or do you think rather that we will? We have, by the way. And this may have come in right before that signing.
No,
right around that
this
signing.
came in after the Colin,
okay.
the Colin Thomas.
We have been playing very well, but with a length of season, the average amount of injuries throughout, do we need another starter signing to keep up? Again, that's Sean Weldon.
So, number one, we signed Colin Thomas. We've not seen him play yet, and truthfully, I don't even know. I don't even know like what his role would be. Is he a wing back? Is he a winger? Is he a wide forward? Is he a midfielder? I don't know. I don't think we necessarily have to sign another starter specifically. I will note that. Like Milo doesn't have a true backup, especially in a back four scenario at left back.
That's where I was going to go.
We've seen him be subbed out for a Robert Screen on the left hand side. We've seen Mango play a little bit of that left wing back. We've seen Minjay play a little bit there in the past. Tate in his time with Lexington. Played a little bit of wide left in a 4-4-2. And I think even a little bit of left back and back then. So, like, you can do some things to get around it. I still think I would like a left back at some point.
What is our deal with left backs?
You're being very nice, Matthew. We are a Milo cold from being away from being fucked. I need you to not sugarcoat things.
But I think we have more options at wing back than we do at full back.
Yes.
Which is exactly why we're playing the 3-4-3.
Correct. And look, you can throw Minjay over there, and I would argue Minjay wing back is his best position. But he's not a left-footed wing back, so he'd be a little bit out of position. You can put Mango there. There's a lot of things you can do. But we need the ability to play. One of the things that's super good about this team is the flexibility. We've talked about the way they can play differently, the different personnel, all the things. If you lose Milo, you suddenly lose the ability to play a back four unless you're just playing a giant center back at left back.
I mean, like,
which I do not like at all.
You can do some things.
We need a Milo backup, and we need one yesterday.
And like I said, what is the deal with fullbacks in CFC over the past years? I mean, it's like the Spinal Tap drummer. I mean, it's like we just don't have. They just explode, and we don't have them. I mean, I don't.
Well, we haven't lost Milo yet.
No, but we don't. Well, I mean, I'm glad we have him. In the past we've gone with really no left backs.
Yeah, it's terrifying. So we need a Milo backup without a doubt. Starter-wise, look, we could always love bringing in a starter, but we're getting back starters from injury. I think Omzi is going to be in a starting rotational type of guy that's going to get a lot of minutes and where he's going to come back from injury eventually, even though I found out after the game he got re-injured. again, so he's still out.
We're a few weeks away on Jalen James.
We're a few weeks away on Jalen James, who may be a starter. Don't forget, he's our best player from the last 2 preseasons, and he was good off the bench. So does he make that jump? Last year, he was quite good off the bench. Does he make that jump into being a starter? And Peter Plougmand is just starting to work his way in, and we talked about how he's changed the game in the second half of actually really both games.
Can James play for left back?
No, we need a left back. Period. But starter wise, I would love another starter. I think we lost one. Like, it'd be dope to get another one. I don't think we're going to get one.
I think part of that is just roster construction in general. I think there were more starting caliber players on this year's team than there have been in years past,
without a doubt.
And that allows you, especially when you do it. That just allows you like some flexibility because players do get injured. And sometimes players get injured for a very long period of time, including the entire season. That's part of it. You have to plan for that. You have to be prepared for it. And then part of it's like how you adjust like out of it. So we'll see. I do think we'll make an additional signing at some point in time.
Fucking better.
But also that just depends on like where the budget is. I don't know.
And like left back's also one of the hardest positions to find because left-footed defender. So, but hopefully we find that's the thing that keeps me up at night.
Buy those tickets, folks, and buy that
merch.
We did not talk about the Crown Legacy age lineup, and I want to go through that real fast.
Sure.
And then I want to talk about some. We're
old, they're young.
We'll come back to the mailbag, but I want to talk about some breaking news.
Okay.
So
I've got about 32 minutes.
Goalkeeper for Crown, 24 years old. Backline was 21, 20, 27, 20. That 27-year-old is the son of the first team coach.
He's not very good.
He's fine. 20, 19, 19, 18 in the midfield. 24 and 18 were your starters. On the bench,
How old was the winger that tore us a new asshole like 3 different times?
20.
Boy. That's the guy they paid, I think, a couple $1 million for, and he is awesome.
You mean among them?
Yeah, you're right. Fair.
On the bench, 19, 18, 18, 24, 20, 20, and 22. Crown started 2 guys that are on first-team contracts. They also had a guy on a first-team contract on the bench, and then they have the 19-year-old backup goalkeeper for this particular game will be on a first-team contract next year. So that's the group that they had. I, gentlemen, am going to read you some breaking news.
Do it.
Oh.
Chattanooga FC 2
What?
will compete in the UPSL beginning in the fall of this year, 2025.
I'm letting it go the whole way. This is fucking huge news.
The Baby Blues.
The Baby Blues.
Well, that's what we're doing now. Yeah, that's done.
Yeah, good job, Jim.
So, so like UPSL, CFC are announcing today, they're going to play in the Premier Division of Georgia Conference. So that's with some of your Dalton teams. That's with some of your Atlanta-based teams. In case you don't know, the UPSL...
We have a new signing, too.
Okay, we'll talk about that in a second. The UPSL breaks their season into a spring season and a fall season, and there are playoffs for each of those. This is a really big deal. We've talked about a long
huge
time
fucking
ago.
deal. Huge deal.
Needing kind of a second team. For
How long has this been on our New Year's
you and
resolutions?
I, like 8 years.
It's been on yours too. Our CFC New Year's our New Year's resolutions for CFC. This has been on.
Oh, the podcast ones are a little bit younger but like you and I have been talking about this for.
No, but we had this on
years.
our public ones at one point. Like it wasn't like, hey, by next year we have to have it, but it's like, hey, we need this.
Oh yeah, it was one of the first things Todd and I spoke about when we started 423.
Hi, Toby.
So, in case you don't know, a lot of like MLS teams have their top level, like their oldest age group for the academy, just playing in UPSL. And then those players often do the jump for MLS Next Pro. Like that's part of their player pathway. This is going to do a couple of things for us. Number one, this is the bridge for your MLS Next players to play against amateurs that are often adults, like older than they are. So it gets them a little bit of that extra competitive thing where playing adults, kind of like how these MLS Next Pro teams that have a lot of younger players, younger pros, playing against older pros like us, helps in their development. It's a different look than playing against other players your same age. The second thing this is going to do is bring some additional minutes available to first team players.
Maybe.
There's no maybe. This is going to happen. So we have more players than we do minutes, right? From the professional side.
Well, not technically. I mean, there's 90 minutes in a game. We only have like 20 some players.
The math doesn't math. So like players,
I didn't know there was going to be math.
So players that are not playing need to find minutes in some way, shape, or fashion. And this is one of the ways that it can be used for. It can be just straight minutes. So let's look at someone like, like a Darwin Ortiz type player who's not playing meaningful minutes yet with the first team. That guy, Darwin can get guys. Darwin can get some minutes now if he's not breaking through into the lineup in Next Pro. You also have the opportunity for a player getting injured to get some rehab minutes before they even see minutes with the first team. So this is going to be pretty valuable for us. We've wanted this for a long time, and now it's here, and I'm very, very excited. We can go back now from a couple years of podcasting and cross a resolution off the list. Done, finished, completed.
It's amazing. One of the things that's going to be, so it's obviously we talked about like amateur players getting to play and MLS Next Pro players or MLS Next players getting to play. We'll see how the MLS Next Pro thing shakes out, like how many minutes they're allowed to get, how many players we're allowed to have, what circumstances they can play in. But like, man, it's going to be, there's no way this doesn't help us tremendously. Yeah. And it's like you said, it's a podcast and just a fan desire, like to see that this put into fruition. Like it's big. It's big, big, big. Yeah, I can't wait to see what where they're going to play, like all of those things.
Very fun. Okay, let's go through some women's roster stuff real quick.
So we have some more men's questions that we could finish up right before we do the women's stuff, if you want.
Okay, yeah, let's do that.
So this is a Jim-related question. Was Jim added to the podcast for the in-depth information he brings, or his boyish good looks to get more YouTube vid?
The answer is no.
Obviously, it was for YouTube.
The answer is yes to both of those. Also, it's for his baby blues comment a minute ago. Not just a hat rack, that brain. Yeah. Big head, big brain. So that's, Jim's the best. So I don't. Ross Singer says that was Bill Autry that said that one. That's very good, Bill. I don't want to play Huntsville 2 more times. I don't think. Discuss from Ross Singer. Ross, buddy, me either. So I've watched them, and they are super inconsistent. They have the best personnel group maybe to actually play well they've had, and they had a good personnel group last year. They just couldn't use them right. But they are extraordinarily inconsistent. That 5-0 win they had the other day was not a 5-0 win. I mean, it was, but like also Chicago played a super young lineup, went down a man, and then carved them up at times. So like, it's just weird. They're weird. I do think they're good. I'm worried about playing them. I do not believe that the game will go like it went the last time. I have not seen them play a game that good the rest of the season. I've watched most of their highlights. So I'm also not looking forward to playing them because I think that they are actually pretty good, but you can see they're not getting results for a reason. And yeah, we'll see what comes of that. But I don't think they're as good as the team we played. That was an aberration in how bad they dominated us, even though we won.
Interesting.
You guys have any additional thoughts on that one?
No, I think that was pretty good, honestly.
Yeah.
What was the atmosphere like in High Point from Ross Singer? Mixie, buddy. So it was muted. Their supporters are, I'll just say, new to this. So like they had a cool flag. I'm sure they had some chants, but I couldn't really hear them. They had some issue with some drums, so like they didn't have as many as they wanted to. So I don't want to go into all their thing because I don't really know the whole story and I don't want to tell the whole story. Try to tell the whole story rather. But like, and then of course they, it was a weird, like I think they expected a bigger crowd, and it wasn't that big. But like, yeah, it was cool. It was good. Like you can't control attendances, right? Like sometimes you expect to have 5,000 people and you have 2,000 people, and it's like, what the hell? And so like,
I mean, like your tickets out. I mean, I think they announced like 3,800. Like they had a lot of tickets out.
There was like 1,500 people in that building, but it was a good time. The atmosphere was that of like a new club figuring it out, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean just like they don't have the 15 years of tradition that we have. They don't have the established traditions and the established like whatever. But they did everything right. Like we spent quite a bit of time talking to the supporters before, during, and after the game. Like everything was great. There was some atmosphere. It's not what it's going to be because they're going to continue to grow and build. So yeah, we had a great time, and I can't wait to go back.
Oh yeah.
Last one that I want to kind of skip over. Because we're going to talk about it in a future pod, but just as an aside, something we've talked about kind of already is I assume we're outperforming our XG again. Ross says, like last year, what needs to tighten up to prevent falling back to earth again? I think Peter Plougmand's a big piece of that. And if we can keep those defenders from coming forward, that's huge. And then like, yeah, we'll talk more about the noise in the data and what the data looks like as we become a different team when we get 10 or so games in.
Just quick, some numbers from American Soccer Analysis. If I may be misremembering this, you got your laptop, you can look, but right now we're at a deficit of XG of about 5, so it's like 11 and change for our opponents and 6 and change for us, and so and then we're being outshot by about 30, which
so I gotta watch. Shots don't matter to me.
Well, shots generate XG.
Yes, but like it depends what kind of shots we're getting on whatever.
That's the point of XG.
Also, we're 6 games in. It's too early. There are 8 big chances according to Opta in the Atlanta away game. I was at that game. I've rewatched large portions of the game. There were not 8 big chances. So like,
Breezy's going after Opta.
There's fucking noise, is what I'm saying. So like, we're 6 games in. Like, we may be in big, deep shit. Right? We may not be. We have to get further into the season.
Not what I said.
I know, but like people are sounding the alarm bells. Like we're
because this is exactly what happened.
It is exactly what happened
last year. Is we were way outperforming. I think our expected points right now is scarily low.
It's right around 1.
Yeah, I think it's actually 2.
But it's the reason you can't use stats like this right now is because it's too few games. It's not one game can skew things drastically. A couple games with some bad readings can skew things drastically.
How many games do we play?
28.
6.
We will play 26.
We played 6, so 6 out of 28.
The normally accepted thing is once you get to 10 games, you have enough to talk about. Like that's when stuff starts becoming statistically significant. Like I have the same concerns everyone else has, but let's wait to get to 10 games.
The trend line is concerning.
No, the trend line is not concerning. The trend line's going the right way now. It was really concerning, and now we're getting some good performances. We're getting closer. Like we're getting whatever. Like we just need more data here to have any conclusions, because you can't draw conclusions from trend lines when the data may be too noisy because it's only 6 fucking games.
I will also remind you that one of the biggest issues that's skewing the data right now is a game where we took the lead in the second minute on our first shot of the game. Like
game state.
There's a lot of this is why you want to wait for 10 games. And truthfully, we talked a little bit about data last year when we hit 10 games, but we really didn't talk about it in any detail until we hit 14 games. And I think I want to do that again.
By the way, I want to have a
because
giant
it's halfway.
data.
The big problem with that though is we don't play every team twice. Which
I know.
We should,
Yeah,
but like whatever.
And so one thing my hope is that we can, the 3 of us, and I'm hoping Thomas can get on this podcast if he's around, the 15th game of the season, and anytime between the 10th and the 20th.
He made some heat maps.
He made some unbelievable stuff. But he's still pulling from the Opta data, which I believe not only is a too small sample size, but is skewed because I looked at the data and I watched the Atlanta game and I rewatched, and like it's not properly recorded. And it's 1 game out of 6. It just skews things. Does that mean we're all okay? No, not necessarily. It's impossible, not impossible. It is irresponsible to draw conclusions this early. So that's why I want to say, like, let's just pump the brakes on the XG talk.
And let's rely on vibes and the power of friendship.
Well, the vibes.
Well, now I'm mad at Matthew.
Like I said at the beginning, the vibes are positive. I just want the performances to catch up with the results.
Also, Karsten Finch, you have a phenomenal question here that we're going to say that we might do an entire podcast about. I'm not even going to say it on this podcast, but if you're listening to this podcast, a question you asked about, it's fucking good, and give me an idea for an entire podcast.
Okay. Cool.
All right, let's get on to. Let's do it.
I'm going to run through the women's team real quick where we
Let's
are
fucking
right
go.
now.
Let's
We've
go.
got 17 players. We're planning on doing a full preview. It'll be in a few weeks, but let's go through it right now.
Let's do it.
Goalkeepers. We've got 3. Caroline Eckern. I'm going to guess Eckern.
From Knoxville, Tennessee, she goes to UTC.
Kylie Hall from Berkeley, California. Her previous club was Unifoot Antigua.
Love that.
Maddie Smith from Omaha, Nebraska. Previous college was Florida State.
Fuck yeah.
Defenders.
I'm waiting for you to try to say this.
Dejani Anderson from St. Catherine, Jamaica. University of Arkansas.
If he got that wrong, I am so sorry, Miss Anderson.
Jordan Crockett, Park City, Utah, and Colorado Storm.
Hey, buddy, we like the Arkansas and more D1s.
Park City.
Yeah, she's the best thing to come out of Park City.
I don't know. The snowboarding's pretty good.
Ash Fernandez from Niceville, Florida, University of Tulsa.
Hurricanes.
A welcome back to Abby Marek, Nashville, Tennessee, and UTC.
She gets an applause for returning player.
That's a returning player
Hell yeah.
right there.
Welcome back, Abby.
Casey Vigil from Gilbert, Arizona, and Utah State University.
Aggies.
Okay.
Rene Yanaha, I believe, from Okinawa, Japan, and Utah State University.
I am so sorry, my new Japanese friend, that he butchered your name so badly.
Yeah, it's gonna keep happening.
And
here.
I'm not even going to try until I find out with a pronunciation guide.
Kennedy Ball, Chattanooga native, University of Arkansas,
Let's go.
CFC Academy.
We love an academy signing.
May Hunt from.
Don't fuck this up.
I wanted to make a joke. I actually, when I was building this earlier, I made a joke to Maddie about stains upon Thames, and then I was like, huh, what is it, like Stins upon Thames or something? Stains upon Thames. Someone can correct me. From the UK, South Alabama. We've got Kaylee.
Jaguars.
We've got Kaylee Smith.
I like how you know all of these universities. I know why you do. I know none of them.
Kaylee Smith from Corpus Christi, Texas, and Texas State University.
Hell yeah.
Oh, God. I don't know. Texas State. Are they the Coyotes? I don't remember.
I don't know.
We've got Tori Tuyo from Chattanooga, Tennessee, Tennessee Tech University,
CFC Academy
CFC
product.
Academy.
Let's go.
We've got Eliza Dean from Littleton, Colorado, in the Colorado Storm. At the forward position, sorry, we're at forwards now. Reese McDermott from Houston, Texas. Her previous club is FC Pinzgau Soufelden in Austria.
I'm guessing there. My German is not good.
Mine's non-existent. We've got Brady Livingston, Knoxville, Tennessee, and Lenore Rhine. That's
Hell
a
yeah.
CFC Academy player, and she's a returning player.
Announced today.
And then we've also got Annalisa Vincent returning
Let's
from
go.
Moruca, Guyana.
Let's go.
Hell yeah.
So let me read the mailbags now, as we can go through whatever part. But what are our overall impressions, asks Tom Gonzalez, of the women's team signing?
We've never had this many D1 players since 2018. In the club's return,
Correct.
we've not had this many D1 players.
I also noticed a lot of Colorado Storm former players, a lot of Colorado and Utah-esque connections. Those definitely, from my perspective, come from Sebastian and Marin, who coached the Colorado... Was it the Colorado Storm? Was that what they were called?
I think so.
I couldn't remember if the last year they were Colorado Storm or something else. We talked about on the podcast. I apologize, Sebastian, that I've messed that up. But I think that's a really good sign because it means he and she know these players and they feel good about them. And that makes me very, very excited and very happy.
Yeah. I've not gotten into the film. There's also just less film in women's soccer.
Yeah.
Than there is in men's.
But if there are highlights of these players, we will check them out before the.
I also think that
in-depth preview.
will probably change in time with kind of the explosion of women's professional soccer.
With the announcement this morning.
There are just new leagues. There's new opportunities. I think you'll see a little bit more, highlight packages and stuff like that over time.
So this morning, the NWSL announced that they are putting in a second division league. Mike Pendleton asks, does CFC become the first independent team in this new NWSL second division league?
It's a great freaking question.
And
Mike.
let me add, hell yeah. Let me add one that is related. The WPSL Pro also recently released their intention to have a women's second division.
Which is like the WPSL Pro has been working on a third division league now for like a while. Like
And USL should have fucking gone to the second division, and then the WPSL should have been in the third division, and we should have like a coherent something, but of course we don't because US soccer fucking sucks. But Albert asks, can CFC join WPSL Pro? Again, the second division. Should we? Will our market support a women's team? These questions are related. Boys, thoughts?
I mean, I think those are good questions. So like yes. Should? I don't know.
Should what?
Should we join
Should
them?
we?
Oh.
I don't know. And it's because of the third question. Will our market support a women's pro team? I don't know. I don't think we've done a good enough job of putting a product on the field that is going to bring people out. I also think that people should support the women's team anyway because it's ours. But like, I realize not everyone is me, is insane as I am. So what I want to see is I want to really build a base at the women's amateur level. I want to build a base. I want to build support. I want to consistently, year over year, put a product on the field that is really, really good. Provide a pathway for players from this area. I want to provide a pathway for players that are not from here to come here and get noticed and signed into NWSL and into Europe. I want like support off the field, whether it's from the corporate community or it's from just folks coming out to watch games. But before we even talk about all of the different women's professional soccer options, I mean, like let's be honest, like NWSL is off the table. The Denver expansion just went for like $100 million. Like that's not happening. The NWSL Reserve League basically is what it is. It's going to be 8 markets. All of them are NWSL teams currently. They're all going to be 2 teams. They're all going to play inside their own stadium. So like that path is also closed for us, at least at the moment, it appears. So you've got the Super League, which is run by run from USL World, which seems also closed off to us.
It's also like Division 1 in quotes, and it's like the most bullshit. Like it's not a good league.
Yeah, it's just
year one.
It's just a marketing thing.
It's trash. Compared to NWSL.
By the way, I don't like.
Yeah, it's
and them having Division 1 sanctioning is insane.
It's 1AA.
The problem with like screaming from the rooftops that you're a Division 1 league when there's another one is that you look at it and it becomes immediate. Like no one in this country knows or cares about the divisional distinctions.
No,
they look at it from a major and minor scenario, and one screams minor. And that's going to be something that's going to be incredibly hard to
shots fired
figure out for them. I mean, like we know that like they're fucking giving these franchises away. They're slapping a $10 million. The Super League is slapping a $10 million valuation on them, and they're just fucking giving them away. So, like that's a them problem, not an us problem. And if we look at WPSL Pro, which logically makes the most sense for us at this point in time. The announcement of them doing a second division league, whatever, I don't care. But the interesting announcement was Cleveland Pro Soccer, an incoming MLS Next Pro team, is going to have a women's professional team coming in at the same time. And that they will be in the WPSL Pro League after not getting an NWSL expansion team, which has always been their goal, and is, by the way, still their goal. They would like to move from one to the other eventually. Also buried in the announcement was the Carolina Core owner, Megan Oglesby, talking about being a founding investor for WPSL Pro. Carolina Core has not publicly come out and said that they are doing a WPSL Pro team. But like, I think there's a middle of North Carolina kind of triad, not like Research Triangle, but like the other triad.
Triads, Chinese gangsters.
Just kind of listed.
Yeah.
I assume
Also,
Carolina Core
like Japanese.
is doing a
I learned everything I know from Rush Hour.
Yeah.
WPSL Pro team. So like, you've already got a couple of a current independent and a future independent in our league that are doing this thing. They're at 15. I think Cleveland made it 15 like teams that have joined. Right? Which, by the way, is like double the Super League. So you've got like there's an interesting scenario here, and it is, maybe more importantly, it is a legitimate option for us. But I think we have to do a lot of work over these next few years to put ourselves in a position to make that happen.
So it's exactly what I said when they announced WPSL Pro. I said this is great news because it provides an option for CFC women when we are ready to go. And so the same thing with NWSL, the same thing with the Super League. Even right now, maybe that's closed off to us, and maybe we don't want to go that way anyway. But those three options being there means that we can take our time to build what we need to build, and there are options available. And so should we have a professional women's team? With the emphasis on should, yes. I'm even wearing my wearing my CFC. Everyone watches women's sports. Should we? Yes. Does that mean that we will because do the metrics work? I don't know, but should we? Absolutely.
So for if you think about the long term, the health of CFC as a soccer club, we have to stop at some point hemorrhaging money.
Yeah.
And the women's team, I know you guys know this, but for the general public, CFC currently loses a bunch of money. Pro soccer in general loses money.
Yeah, everybody loses money.
we have to get towards sustainability. Part of that is going to be figuring out more sponsorship. We're obviously in a new league. We're still a new young pro club in a lot of ways.
It's not going to happen without a stadium.
We probably need a new stadium solution, or a stadium solution that gives us more control. Of Finley with more control.
That's why I whispered, Matt. Don't look at me like that. They can see you look at me like that on the YouTube.
By the way, he agrees with you. So my point being is the women's team cannot be a drag on the budget. And I'm not saying it is immediately, but here's the problem.
Yeah, by the way, because right now the men's team's already a drag on the budget.
No. But if you're losing, if you're losing $2 million a year, which is a fuckload of money.
60,000.
So a women's pro team is not going to be 60,000.
I know that.
A women's pro team may be another 2 million. It may be another million. It may be another 500,000. I don't know what the loss looks like, but and I don't know how many of the ticket buying and corporate sponsorships and all the other things work in synergy to give you more, but it has to be much closer to break even, because what we are currently is at the behest of a very rich person. And thank you, Davis, for being willing to take these losses and for the betterment of Chattanooga and of Chattanooga FC. Yeah. But we have to work towards, and I know I'm looking at you guys, but this is for everybody else that wants a pro women's team, just like I do, desperately. But we need the women's team to be able to stand on its own, kind of like you guys have said, in the sense that we need more people. I have been going to women's games since 2015. And the times that we have truly broke 1,500 fans is, I think, 0.
Maybe the first game back. No, we were about 1,100, probably 1,100 or 1,200.
If the people don't show up, and some people are going to be well, if you build it, they come. That's not, unfortunately, there's no proof to that. And what we have to do is CFC women are worth supporting, and it rules. And hopefully we're really good on the field this year, and the games line up better.
That's what has to happen. I mean, that's what
but
has to happen.
It's not just that. It's not just that, though. When I'm there and there's 20 supporters and then 150 people in the stands, or 350 people, let's be a little more generous, that's insane. CFC women deserve better than that. But if we look at that metric, you can't have a pro women's team with that as the metric. Like we need to be in that like 1,500 people every game type of thing from my perspective before you go, okay, we're ready now.
Well, that's what I said. I mean,
I know you
again,
did, but like
yeah.
I'm looking at you to not just like stare into the camera, but like there's a lot of people who have been in my DMs or in my conversations over the past years who are like, we just need to have a women's team and we're suddenly going to have 3,000 people there every night. And that's not how the men's team worked either. Like the men's team like had ebbs and flows and took time to build like a real following.
If you look at the attendance data game by game, which I realize like isn't publicly out there, from those first early years, remember like there weren't a lot of people like immediately think of the deep playoff runs of 2014, 2015, 2016, etc. But if you go back to 2019, I'm sorry, 2009, there's 4 home games. If you go to 2010, there's 5 home games. One of them is a lot bigger than the others because we played FC Atlas in Mexico. That was our first time cresting. I can go look at exactly what we reported, but like that was a 6,000 plus person game.
Yeah.
It's also a World Cup year. The other games, the other 4 games were much more
like 1,100, 1,500.
Probably in the 15 to 2,000 range.
USL numbers, just for our USL listeners, that's more like 25 to 3,000.
And so like what I'm saying is it took a while to really get there. Those first few years were 4 league home games where we would try to add a 5th. And by 2011 we played an extra 2 home games because we used it as US Open Cup qualifying. So like these things take time. I realize that like women's soccer is doing a speed run than men's soccer did, which means that like it's going to be extremely terrifying and volatile and chaotic because we can't have nice things in this country and we can't learn from our mistakes in this country. So we have to go do all 17 leagues and about 65 teams folding in like 4 years, just off the cuff. Like that's. And I don't want to put us in a position where it feels like women's professional soccer is just doing a fucking NISA. And by the way, I guess Whistle might start this fall.
I forgot. I'm sorry. I apologize for not listing Whistle in the opportunities for us to, if we go.
Weren't they supposed to kick off in the fall of 2024? I completely forgot about that.
Buddy, I don't know.
Do you think they did and just no one knew about it?
Maybe.
Or
do you think they blew the whistle?
Hey.
Well, it sounds like U.S. Soccer certainly blew the whistle on NISA, if you know what I'm saying.
I want to finalize my little thing, which is I want to have women's professional soccer. I think it is a medium-term goal that like absolutely needs to be a part of it. Women's players and little girls need to be able to dream to be able to play on Chattanooga FC women, so the Chattanooga FC men is on one side, Chattanooga FC women is on the other side professionally. But we just have to be ready, and that does mean put a better product in the field. That does mean have a better like thing. But we also have to like Chattanooga has to show up for it. We
also need to have like. We also need to have the club infrastructure, the facilities, the training, like all those kind of things. There was a podcast that Charles Holchet gave a couple weeks
you
ago.
Want to talk about this now?
What's up, Chuck?
By the way, we don't have time, so talk fast.
He gave a podcast on SoccerWise talking about how CFC, this club, is actively looking for kind of an academy center, academy training facility. That I assume would include a first team
massive
training facility. That kind of infrastructure, that kind of permanence is something we've been talking about for a very long time. It's about taking the next step forward. It's about having a permanent location, just like a kid's classroom, like a place where they can regularly come, the distractions go away, and like that. We've seen it across the country and the world in soccer. Those types of things help with player development. Those types of things help with recruiting. Those types of things, especially, you add the grass component for a men's first team. Like that stuff reduces fatigue as opposed to practicing on turf all the time. Like it would be a massive step. And there is no announcement. There is no news except that like we're looking for that thing. It's one of the things that we've talked about in our resolutions for several years now of like what's the next step. Well, we built an HQ We built the offices. We built
We're building.
built the facility. It's almost done.
By the way, if you drive by, it's wild.
It is wild.
We're looking to build an academy and training facility, and and Jim still wants a stadium too. But which is another thing that would help on the economics side of things, to be able to then invest even more in players and teams.
So really quick,
And now we have a second team on the men's side.
Before we go, Texas State is the Bobcats.
There it is.
And Tennessee Tech, which I didn't mention, of course, is the Golden Eagles. So we got a bunch of D1 players coming, and and go CFC.
Come for guys. If you haven't been to a women's game, I know I chastised everybody for for not but come to it. It's fun. Hopefully we're really good this year, but it's an amazing time. I'll be there at most of them. I think we'll all be there at most of them. It rules. Come support. The Sky Blues deserve it, and it's worth your time too. It fucking rules.
Friend.
Let's set that attendance record. Every year I say we want to set the 2,200 or whatever Asheville did, and then every year I get sad. So let's do it this year. Let's set that attendance record. And here's the other thing. I do agree that if we do the deep run, if we are really good this year and we get the deep playoff run, that is one of the catalysts that started the men's big things. That's that just has to happen, because if you go to U.S. women's team games or you go to U.S. men's team games, there's fan overlap, plenty of it. But there's also plenty of distinct fans of both.
Oh, sure.
And what Chattanooga FC women has not done yet is developed a really deep following amongst people who maybe don't care much about the men's team. There are plenty of people who care about the men's team who don't care about the women's team. I would suggest you should care about both, but not everybody's going to. Everybody has to find their own way. But what GFC women has to do is develop that core, I think, before we can take that next step. And I'm hopeful over the next year to 3, we can develop that core of people that support the women's team, maybe over the men's team even. And that core of people expands from 500 people or whatever that are coming to most of the games in various whatevers to 1,500 people. And then I think we're more ready, and we should become the first, because why not? We're the first.
We should have a women's team.
Yes.
We should have a pro women's team. But so it's up to us and to show the club that they need to make it happen.
Bingo.
Absolutely.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We'll catch up with you guys later. Peace.